Sean and Jenna and Jay here with Triangle of Truth. We are excited because we just got done seeing Bloodshot on premiere night, which for me is a first. I actually never really get to go with these guys because I'm always working, unfortunately. I'm either working or I'm sleeping to go to work the next day. So I was really excited for this. And we're just here to talk about basically our initial reactions and our thoughts to the movie. So I'm going to turn everything over to Jenna, and we're going to start with her and let her just run this show.
Because that's what I do. So, I actually really, really enjoyed this movie as a whole. I know a few things about Bloodshot. Jay here is more of the expert about Bloodshot other than me. I'm intermediate? Is that kind of like the right word?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm like an intermediate when it comes to Bloodshot. And so, the parts of Bloodshot that I know are basically from everything I've read from like Faith or EXO, like anytime he's crossed over with other people. And then I did read the definitive edition of it, which is really good. I highly recommend if you can get your hands on it, get it. Because that's mostly what this movie was based off of, was the big definitive edition of it, which is like his origin story with a little bit of this and that tales to it. A little bit deeper into his origin story with little tales so you can tell what kind of like person he is. My initial of Bloodshot was good. Actually, I really, really liked it. I really did. There was one or two things I would have like tweaked a little bit. There was one scene where he's like straight up the first like major fight scene he does, where he blocks a tunnel. Oh, spoilers! All the spoilers, by the way.
Mention spoilers first.
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. In
Flower
5,
truck.
4, 3, 2, 1, and now we're continuing.
So in the like main first fight that he has, where he's going after the guy that killed his wife, not really though. It was he blocked the whole tunnel with a truck full of like not flowers, but like the flour you'd make for like cooking,
Like bags
baking.
of flour.
Bags of flour.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is how we're gonna get him all whited out. And then at the very end, where they showed him overclocking.
Yeah, he's
overclocking the nanites, and he turned all white. And I was like, oh, there he is, there he is.
Glowing red eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I really like what they did with like. It felt like these were newer characters because I didn't know who they were. Maybe Jay does. I didn't know who they were. So it was like a kind of mix of like comic book classic Bloodshot with new stuff added into it. And I really liked that. That was really cool the way they did that. The CGI they did in it was so good.
One of the best parts of the movie really was the CGI.
Yeah.
Now, for me, not gonna lie, I've read maybe 2 comics. They're both zero issues, so there weren't really
like prequels
basically. So I haven't read an actual trade. So I came into this movie kind of cold. Was going to offer the perspective of someone who is just a moviegoer that enjoys comic book movies in general. So for me, obviously it was exciting.
Yeah.
This is something new. We all love Valiant, and so we wanted this movie to succeed. And of course, I'm trying to think of the way Jay called it. It was a cautious optimism is what we came in with.
Yes.
And because, obviously we're optimistic that it'll be a good movie because there's been like maybe 1 or 2 that all of us have been like, that we didn't like. So we knew we were probably going to like it. Jay obviously brought the caution because they could totally screw up the storyline and whatnot because of the things that they did. Again, like she mentioned, the CGI is some of the best that I've ever seen in not just a comic book movie, just any movie. The way they used with the nanites and whatnot with him.
Another thing on the nanites, I really liked how to keep it not R-rated, to keep it PG-13, right?
Yeah.
And instead of having like blood and gore, they used the nanites, which I thought was so cool because at one point he cuts his hand and he like drips them out. So to keep the gore out of it, you don't see actual blood. They like grate it out with the nanites.
Yep.
I thought that was so cool the way they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It looks great. I mean, there were a couple of times when they, like, in another spoiler, like when they just shoot his face, it literally looks like a better version of what you would do with Terminator if they could do T2 in 2020.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way that looked. Again, character-wise, I didn't know anybody other than Bloodshot coming into the movie, so really it wasn't until the movie was over and Jay said it, that I didn't know that like KT and the other dude were not people that were in the comics. But overall, I thought the characters were pretty cool. KT's really kind of a deep character. Hopefully, if they do another movie, they expand on her.
Oh, I loved
And
it.
then-
I wanted to know more about the
Yeah,
optics.
but the other two soldiers were fascinating, especially the blind guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a
with the
fascinating
eyes.
way.
That was
Thing
so
in
cool.
general was like, wow, I would read a comic on that guy if they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I was entertained right from the beginning all the way to the end. I didn't feel that there was a lot of dead spots in this movie, so I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
All right, so now.
So now my thoughts. Let me scoot up a little bit.
Oh,
He has
he's
many words.
getting serious here.
Oh, sorry.
So, just like to point out, none of us are movie critics. We watch these movies as fans. And I gotta say that despite some of the reviews that I've seen, I never follow reviews anyway. This movie is not slow. It does have a little bit of cheese to it, but I mean it's an action flick. There was some negatives I found in it, but the negatives kind of don't compare to the positives of the movie. There are things where it was like, if I have a reason for a negative, there's a positive to kind of back it up. Like I was telling them on the way home, this movie could have benefited from an R rating, but since this is Valiant's first movie, they wanted to put more butts in seats, so PG-13 was the way to go. And
they wanted people to see what they had to offer.
like Jena was saying, what they did with the nanites to replace the gore, because there's a scene where he gets blown apart with a grenade launcher. And when it's putting him back together, you see pieces of the flesh and bone, but they use the nanites to gray out the gore.
Yeah.
I thought that was a real interesting and clever way to cover that up.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the characters go, unless they are in, because I haven't read the newer issues of Bloodshot. I just got a number 0 of the brand new run. I don't know any of these characters really. I want to say that the scientist that's in the movie is in there somewhere.
Harding.
Uh,
Harding is his name.
yeah,
I think, yeah.
I believe so. The Guy Pearce plays him in the movie.
Which I thought did an amazing job.
Yeah,
That actor is so
everybody was on
versatile.
point.
Yeah.
Everybody was on point with the characters, even if they were brand new and you don't know how they're supposed to act. I will have to say that between KT and I wish I could remember the blind character's name, but
They only said it like twice.
they were two of the most interesting characters outside of Bloodshot to me.
Yeah.
I wish we could have seen a lot more of the blind character because I felt like halfway through he could see the other dude was like a real dick, and then he was kind of like teetering towards KT. But then I guess they ran out of time and we didn't really get to see that really follow through.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, in one of the iterations, because there's been 5 or 6 different reboots of Bloodshot, usually around the same story, but usually what happens is there is one scientist who finally decides, and this is where I think KT and Wiggins comes in. They kind of took one character from the book and split them into 2 different people, because in the comics, it's another scientist that decides, this isn't right what we're doing to this guy. They basically erase his memory, fill it with a false memory, and then put a target in place of like somebody who murdered his wife.
Vengeance.
And it's not just that one that they do. There's many, many other scenarios that they upload to his mind in the comics to get different results. Now, the other thing about a negative, but it's okay for me right now. Before the movies even took off, they sold some of the characters to other companies. The reason that we have him taking out these RST is, I believe, what they call it in the movie,
Yeah.
RST. Taking out these ex-RST employees was because in the comics, they built him specifically to hunt psionic children, or psychic children, children with abilities.
Yeah.
Well, since they didn't have those characters, they had to find some other target for Bloodshot. So you never really know when you first read the comic what's true. Is his name Ray Garrison? Is it? I think they give him a couple other
Angelo's
different
another
names.
one, right?
His original name, or so we think, is Angelo. He's a gangster who ends up getting killed, and they turn him into Bloodshot and give him this whole backstory. Basically, they just upload whatever they feel like into his brain to take care of whatever person they need taken care of. I will say this though, the action in this movie was amazing. There were parts of this where I feel like Vin Diesel has done some of his better acting than he has in some recent movies that he's been in. But overall, I give the movie like a 9 out of 10, and I hope it does well at the box office so we can start getting a Ninjak, we get an EXO.
Oh, give me Faith.
Faith, Livewire, just
Yes.
hardcore, just all the Valiant movies. And then I really hope that the studios that they sold the characters to can reach one of those Marvel Sony agreements.
Sony's actually pretty good with doing team ups with like Paramount, Disney, Marvel, like all of them. So
that way, because the best thing about Valiant that I can say is this: they have a massive character library, and they're a single universe. So picture them owning all their characters like DC does, having the interconnected universe kind of like Marvel does, but they don't have a multiverse, so they can focus on a single universe.
yeah, it'd be a lot easier to have crossovers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So overall, I'm excited for the future. Of this
I definitely want to
franchise,
see
so.
this again too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I definitely want to see this again.
It makes you wonder, because we've mentioned this several times in talking, coming up to the movie. What if the idea of selling them off to the various studios was so that each studio could have the budget to make a movie and whatnot, so that you could team it up a little bit later. That way, maybe it's not always a flop with each studio, and then they can't do the next one because it flopped. Maybe that was the purpose.
I will have to
We'll have to see.
to look up this again, but I'm pretty sure that the budget for this movie might have been under $50 million.
Yeah, I think so. I
I'll have
remember
to
reading
check it
somewhere
again.
they were talking about it had a pretty low budget.
If
Yeah,
it
I'll have to
was,
check
and they
again.
got that out of it,
Yeah.
wow.
I was also super surprised. So we were actually going to go see the very first showing of it, but it sold out. It sold out in 2 days, the first showing. And then ours actually sold out while we were there. I don't know what happened. There was a couple of empty seats. Maybe people couldn't show up or they got mixed up. And then they went from, there was only going to be 2 showings tonight. Last I looked, there were 6. They had to expand it to 6. There were so many, like our 2 shows were sold out. And then the one with the XD one was sold out.
They added
So-
2 theaters.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was good to see.
They went from 2 to 6. They had to have 4
Yeah.
showings.
It was good to see that, at
Yeah.
least for us, being not that we're tired of Marvel, or not that we're tired of DC, but we love everything.
Yeah.
Love comic book movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a slice of the pie for everybody to get in here
Mm-hmm.
and do things. So, with Valiant, hopefully this does good, and then the other studios, they don't wait too long to get the rest of the stuff to come out.
Right.
Don't pull a Henry Cavill
Yeah.
with Superman.
Well, I mean, it wasn't Henry Cavill himself's fault. I think.
Don't pull a Warner Brothers with Henry
Yeah.
Cavill. There we go. I'm going to
There
word
we
it
go.
more
There we
properly.
go.
And one of the best things about Bloodshot is there are a lot of people like, oh, Vin's kind of a little too old to carry the franchise. Well, the best thing about Bloodshot is there's more than one Bloodshot.
Yeah.
Bloodshot is the actual project. He just happens to be called Bloodshot as well.
And then I'm really excited to see because it dates back all the way back to like Vietnam War.
Yeah. 'Cause
They're
Vietnam Man or something like that. They call him something weird like
yeah,
that.
they called them something weird, but they do team ups. There's been one in every war since I think World War II.
I believe so. Don't quote me on that.
Don't
I
quote me.
believe so.
The first one was either the Vietnam War or World War II. I think like an old school one that I read from the 90s was that the program started because of World War II or something.
Something like it's been a while.
I can't-
It's been a while.
Don't quote me. I'm the intermediate. Okay, but I do have to say one more thing. This was some of Vin Diesel's best acting.
Mhm.
Best acting in years.
I was.
And he's a really good military guy. Because remember him in The Pacifier, he played really well, especially with like, the kids. And then in this one, it was just, he found his calling.
Well, my worry going into it was we were just going to get Dominic Toretto in a different way.
Yeah.
And thank God it was not.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
And then I don't know how to say this, but through the whole movie, it wasn't just that one voice that he normally has, where it's like that deep
No,
growl.
he had a lot of emotion in this.
He had a lot of emotion, and then his voice, like I didn't know his voice could go that high sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was just him like being Bloodshot. Is how it felt. I feel like if he would have gotten this character before he got his Fast and Furious character, we would have seen him as this.
If we could have started the Valiant universe that long ago.
Oh, that'd have been great.
Definitely.
The other really good thing is, I hope this movie makes money. It's not only just to see more Valiant, which totally down for,
Yeah.
but maybe that'll convince other kind of these smaller indie companies to be like, you know what? Maybe we should start trying to put movies out. Because I'd love to see. I'm still waiting for my hack slash movie.
No, my God, give me or a TV show or something. I love it. They've announced there's gonna be a new one. I'm super excited.
Nailbiter would be an amazing horror movie.
Which they've also announced they're
rebooting that franchise.
They're continuing it.
I'll talk about that soon enough.
And I think what's going on right now with the smaller companies, like October Faction's on Netflix, Lock and Key's on Netflix. What was something else just got released on Hulu?
Carbon.
Yeah. Another one just got released on Hulu. There's even another one that's on Amazon Prime, and I'm drawing a complete blank right now.
The Boys is the big one on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, thank you. There's that one. They've also already announced the second
They're fixing
season.
to have Invincible.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So we're seeing a lot of these other companies coming through, and they're killing it.
Oh yeah.
I love Lock and Key, and we watched it in like one night.
Yeah.
We started it just to try it, and then we couldn't put it down. We were just like, I need more. October Faction, I watched in one day. So good.
Really, I really enjoyed that one too.
Yeah. And I feel like this is the time to rise for these indie companies.
Because
really
competition creates basically creativity.
And better. Like everybody has to be better.
Yep.
And this is the right time to be releasing.
Can't rest on the
better.
laurels, you know.
No.
Yep. I agree.
Oh my gosh, so good. I'm super excited.
So as a first time like Bloodshot interaction that you had really, other than the zeros.
Right.
How would you feel about possibilities of a sequel? Would you like to see Vin Diesel come back for it? Would you like to maybe see them venture into other Bloodshots, or like what are your feelings on that?
I definitely think a sequel should come, obviously.
Yeah.
Whether, I think you could do multiple ones and let Vin Diesel continue the character.
Yeah.
Because the way they end the movie, I do kind of want to see the journey with him and KT.
Yeah, and Wiggins.
But I would like to see them venture into the other guys, so that opens up more stories for you to tell. New cast characters. You can find that new unknown that we always talk about that could become a star and whatnot. The other thing that this has inspired me to do is to grab some of y'all's trades and read them, so that I can, because I hope that not only does everybody watch the movie, they are inspired to actually go pick up a comic and read it, because movies are great, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Comics are special.
Yes. They give you that special warm fuzzy feeling.
Yes. That's something that a movie just can't do, at least for me.
You can even read it digitally. There's a couple of different apps and stuff you can read it for free.
So I saw you had something you really wanted to say.
Yes, I really, really want to say this. What if? So giant major spoiler coming. This is how the movie actually ends. So huge one. The last 5 minutes of the movie, we see KT and Bloodshot and Wiggins in a Jeep with a camper going off into the sunset, and even Wiggins is like, really? Into the sunset? Really?
Yeah.
What if they go around with their camper of awesomeness, going around helping upgrade other Bloodshots? Because Wiggins upgraded Vin Diesel's Bloodshot,
Yeah, that's
so that
true.
way he
That's
doesn't
true.
have to keep
recharging. Yep.
Now he's just good. So that makes me wonder, does that mean the other Bloodshots have had to keep recharging or doing something else? Maybe Wiggins is like the key to unlocking all of these Bloodshots, and then we could just have like all the Bloodshots in a camper and the upgrades and the stop me.
And see, that's another thing that they changed, and not that it was bad. It gave them a reason to have Ray Garrison have to come back to RST for the recharge. See, in the comics, it's protein.
Yeah.
I have watched Bloodshot when he's been literally destroyed and torn apart, eat a live cow to get the
I saw that
protein
one. Yeah.
for the nanites to rebuild them.
Yeah.
So I do like what they did here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the protein thing was pretty cool in the books.
I feel like that might have been too gory for.
Probably.
True.
Probably.
The weird thing though is they
or
never
Sam
actually
to Slim Jim.
they never actually specified how he refuels in the movie. They just said you need to do it.
And it was weird the way they did it. They were like taking all the old ones out and putting new ones in. Were the old ones keeping memory of what he went through?
See,
and maybe that's why the last one kind of like glitched.
In
was
the
like,
books,
nah, bro, I remember you.
In the books, they didn't switch out the nanites, and that's what started him kind of catching on to what was happening before a certain scientist told him about it.
Yeah.
The nanites were starting to mix up memories and things like that.
Yeah.
So maybe
they
this
fixed it by draining him.
Exactly.
Okay. And I just thought that was strange. Like, are they draining them and throwing them away? Like, how can you overclock them? This is a little different than I remember. But the way they played it out was really well done.
And then, of course, like you said, with not using the scientists, it gave birth to a couple of really cool characters.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Wiggins much, but
I love Wiggins. I want to be him when I grow up.
He wasn't on screen a lot, but you'd hear him in the ear. He's the guy that played him is hilarious.
Which he looks so familiar, but I couldn't figure out from where.
I can't think of what he is, but he is
New Girl.
No.
Yeah.
He's the one that came in after Coach or before Coach?
So yeah,
After
but
Coach.
Wiggins was utterly hilarious.
He's English?
No, he's not English. That was
He played a perfect English accent.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah,
He
so
sounded like a Jack.
short answer to your question, yes to both ways.
Awesome. Now, I got another question for y'all.
He sounded like a chav.
Yeah. What Valiant movie? Because here's how the original lineup was going, and it even switched from them. It was supposed to be Harbinger, Bloodshot, Harbinger 2, Harbinger War. Then they switched it to Bloodshot, Harbinger, Harbinger War. And then they completely took Harbinger out. What is the next Valiant character you would like them to do a movie on? Babe, you first.
Oh, God. Based off of the CGI they did with this, what we could see what they did with the nanites and all of that, I feel like they could really kill some Shadow Man.
Shadow Man is a very good one.
I love Shadow Man. He's definitely in my top 5 favorite characters of all time. He's definitely my top 2 characters for Valiant. He and Livewire all the time go back and forth on which one's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Followed by Faith.
Oh, Rise got knocked out of the top 3.
Yeah, he did.
Woo!
He did. He's
wow.
number 4, but and that's only because they've kind of abandoned their 4001 AD stuff. I don't know what.
They have, but Rai has a new comic.
Yeah, Rai has a new comic, but it's I read the first couple and it's not as
interesting.
It doesn't catch me the way 4001 AD storyline did, and then like all the stuff that they're releasing for Shadow Man is just So Shadow Man is a really cool character. He's set sort of I don't want to say dead zone, but think of him as he can go back and forth from hell. Pretty much is the best way to sum it up. Kind of like the spirit realm of like evil
the dead
and bad.
side is what they call it.
Yeah, I know what it's called, but I was just trying to like describe it, but not like.
It's not
well,
hell.
It's not hell. It's just all the dead, and he can go back and forth. A lot of things try to escape, and then he's like, "Nah, bro, come back."
Yeah.
And it's based in Louisiana. Like he was born and raised in Louisiana, and I thought that was super great.
He resonates with you because you like the darker side of
I
things.
do.
So that's why he definitely resonates with you.
Yeah.
All right, so Sean, what about you?
Well, I can't pick one.
Oh Lord.
Because I'm just, that's me. I just can't do one.
You're probably going to pick one of the two I was going to pick, so go ahead.
Probably.
Yeah.
Should we just say it at the same time? Because I think we're thinking of the same guy.
Ninjak.
No, actually.
No,
Oh!
Exo.
Exo.
I
Well,
love
Exo was
Exo,
my
yeah.
other one.
Yeah. So I think again because of the CGI and
Yeah.
what you can do with what is it called, Shanhara?
Man, I have never
Something
been able
like
to
that.
pronounce that armor right. The armor.
But
We
his
are
armor,
so sorry about our pronunciation, Dinesh. Tell us how bad we are, because we love you.
Exo would be probably my number one that I want to see next.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Ninjak is not number two.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
No.
I'm in shock and awe. I just
Yeah,
need,
shock and
give
awe
me a
because-
moment. Give me a moment. Of,
Okay. Are you a little verklempt? Breathe
Okay, I'm
in.
ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. I think I am.
I want Archer and Armstrong.
Yes!
So bad.
How? Oh.
I need those two so bad.
I need Quantum Woody.
Quantum Woody's coming as a TV show, but
Crossover.
I do like Quantum Woody, but I really, really want Archer and Armstrong.
Yeah. That would be a really great way to
Again,
leave the fate.
because of what you can do with their world, you could have an entire movie in Armstrong's magic satchel that
Yeah.
he carries.
Yes.
Especially
So-
the Vault of Spirits.
Yeah,
I love
it's,
that one.
It's just that. If I'll even give you a third one that's just so far out there because he's a character that maybe had like two trades. But if you brought in like Ivar, Time
Ivar,
Walker,
yeah,
Time
I love
Walker.
that's his
that,
brother.
that would be a
Like,
great one because
yeah.
of the simple fact of
Who's the third one?
that's Eternal Warrior.
Eternal
Thank
Warrior.
you. Thank you.
You can do any of those. Actually, any of those characters are great. But Ivar, I would think because of the name Time Walker, what you could do with him.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
all three of us are we love history.
Yeah.
We're big on history. Different periods in time maybe, but we all love it.
Especially like Valiant actually has a series called Britannia, which is set in ancient Rome.
Mhm.
Guess what? She just named one of the ones I would be
Oh my
interested
God!
in
There's
seeing.
gonna be there's a season 3 that's coming out. I'm
Of
excited.
Britannia, which is the world's first detectioner, is what they call it.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. There's some characters I wish Valiant still had. There was one called Magnus, Robot Hunter,
Oh yeah.
and Solar, Man of the Atom.
Okay.
They're both with Dynamite now.
Yeah.
I've got a couple other issues.
And if it goes well, I'd love to see. I'd love to see Faith. Maybe
Yeah.
if they made it Faith in the Future Force.
Ooh. Ooh.
Uh,
Oh.
if
That's dirty
if
to me.
Doctor Tomorrow keeps going as good as I think it is,
Yeah.
that could be one. The big event, though. That's my only thing because Valiant doesn't do like Marvel and DC and has a big event every month.
Yeah. No.
They've had a couple. They've had
3 at this point.
Harbinger War, Book of Death, Harbinger War 2,
Divinity,
Divinity is.
which led into Eternity. Yeah.
Dude,
If you did Divinity movie series, OMG.
You don't understand. Okay.
Now we gotta start
Time
on
out.
this.
Time out. You don't understand. Divinity. I love Divinity so much. I own every single issue, plus the trades, and we also own the omnibus of it.
Yep.
Okay. If you made Divinity into a TV show
Mhm.
or a
Better
series of
That'd be a
movies,
that'd be a mo-
Yeah, be a better.
I
option, though.
I would watch it every day. That's how much I loved Divinity. This was the biggest crossover event I have ever read in my life, especially when like the third act of Divinity is so Divinity is 3 cosmonauts in Russia who go to the end of the universe and find something. Giant spoilers alerts, by the way, giants. I can't talk enough about Divinity. So they find something. 2 of them actually come back. Well, one of them comes back. And then the second one has to come back by using the third one's energy to be able to bring her back. And after the first 2, the 2 of them try and like go off and be like happy dunky dory and like have a good life, but they don't, because the third one, what he does is he tells Stalin. No, the second one, she tells Stalin, "Yo, you're gonna lose the war of everything. World War II is coming. Let's fix this." And they do, and then everything's set in Stalinverse. Even Bloodshot gets turned into a Russian agent. Like every single person except for 1 or 2 people in the entire Valiant universe get turned into Russian agents.
Yep, I think it was except Ninjak and Shadow Man.
Yeah. Well, Shadow Man was being held against his will as a Russian agent, but he was still trying to work how to get out of it because he could remember both sides. He remembered when they weren't and when they were.
Yeah, because I've only read Stalinverse, and I remember the epic fight with Shadow Man. It's when I learned how much of a badass he is.
Yeah.
He headbutts Exo in the face and cracks his visor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then no damage on him.
Yeah, nothing.
He's just like
Come at me, bro.
HBO.
But All that being said,
Sorry,
'cause
you don't
is-
understand.
it-
Like,
it
I
is-
love
it is
Valiant.
it
They're
is-
they're really good.
It is a triangle talk,
Yeah.
so movie review and some Valiant stuff is
Definitely.
is fine.
You
But-
definitely.
Basically, my final thoughts on this is it was really good. The action was great.
Oh yeah, movie.
There-
It's great.
it
was great.
wasn't the most comedic thing, but it did have funny moments.
Yeah, it had little sprinkles of like
Especially-
here and there, so you wouldn't like. be bored.
Especially with Wiggins.
That
But I will say this: with everything, everybody's got different tastes and things. Don't let the fact that this is not a Marvel or a DC movie or some reviewer you read. Don't let this stop you from going to see this for yourself. Always,
Make up your own
always,
mind, guys.
yeah, always. Don't
Yeah.
even listen to us.
Yeah.
Except for the fact of try it for yourself.
Definitely. If you take one thing from any of our videos ever, it's make up your own decision. Like if you
Yep.
see something you like it, you want to ask us some questions, and then you try it, or you don't like the way we describe something, that's your opinion. That's totally okay. We get it. We have our own opinions. A lot of times we butt heads about certain things, but we all respect each other for it because everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. All you have to do is just make your own. Make your own.
Now that's my final thoughts on this. I'd like to hear y'all's before we go.
before we sign off,
So-
yeah.
Oh, you've already got me on Divinity. That's all I can talk about now. So pick something else.
Your thoughts on the movie.
Oh,
Your
the movie
final
was
thoughts-
super great.
Yes, your final thoughts on the movie.
It was super great. I really liked the way they worked around not having that R rating, but still being able to show off that sort of like gore that I love. Because everybody knows, I love gore. I am a horror movie buff, like, for a reason.
And a horror comic buff, and just a horror everything buff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I love gore. And I feel like my love of gore was still satisfied without actual gore in this movie, which I thought was super cool. And then it's just like, it was sci-fi, but at the same time it felt like in today's universe, like today's world, that is something we could like probably do. And that's the scariest part about it.
Yeah.
That's the scariest part about it. This is probably something we could probably do in our lifetimes. Not us personally, but
Right.
Oh no,
as
I'm
a
not
human
smart
race.
enough.
Yeah,
No.
I'm super.
I'm
I can
dumb.
probably do the math, but that's it. All right, Sean.
Anyway, yep, Sean.
Again, just 2 thumbs up for me on it. I had a great time watching it. There's a lot to take in visually, which I loved. I like a visual spectacle when I go see a movie, especially comic book stuff, because you always have an image in your head sometimes of what a universe looks like from the pages.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a good job of giving us a good universe to take in. So that's kind of what I spent a lot of the movie doing, was I really tried to take in and look around on the screen and whatnot. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think everybody else will too.
I think they did a beautiful job with the imagery
Yes.
of like some of the countrysides too.
I'm a sucker for the Amalfi Coast in Italy. I'm just going to say that now.
Awesome. So anyway, folks, I think that's going to do it for us. Check out Bloodshot. Check out Valiant. Check us out at Triangle of Truth, right around this area
It's gonna be somewhere around
I'll
here.
put it somewhere around here.
Our names were probably at the the beginning
At
of the
the
video
beginning.
here. Check us out.
Somewhere.
Feel free to
Yeah.
message us.
I don't know what's
We're happy to
happening.
talk with everybody.
Cool.
Exactly. Y'all stay awesome.
Have a good one, guys. Later.
You don't understand. Divinity is so awesome. It would just be so great if they could make it like a show. Okay? Like,